Hey, in this video, I'm going to introduce you to a local outdoor adventure company in Kealakekua on the Big Island of Hawaii. We're going to get a chance to meet the owners, and they're going to be able to share some tips on how you can really embrace your experience on the Big Island if you've never been here before, or if you have been here, how you can expand your experience. So I've been looking forward to this. Let's go get started. If you're thinking about coming to the Big Island, or you've been here before and you know there's still more to discover, there's one thing that separates a good trip from one you never stop talking about: getting on the water. The Kona coast is one of the most remarkable stretches of ocean on the planet, calm, clear, and alive in ways that will genuinely surprise you. Whether you've never touched a paddle in your life or you grew up in the water, this coastline has something waiting for you. Kona Boys have been the go-to on this coast for years. Locals trust them, first-timers love them, and if you're doing your research on what a real water experience on the Big Island looks like, you just found your answer.
Aloha! Welcome to Kona Boys. Aloha, my name's Frank. I'm one of the Kona Boys, and this is my business partner, Brock.
Good morning. Hello. Aloha. I'm Brock Stratton. I've been here on the Big Island for 26 years. Met Frank in college in Arizona. Lived a few different places in my life. Park City, Utah, and also spent a little time in Southern California. But like I said, we've been here 26 years. Frank and I met in college, came over on a surf trip and absolutely fell in love with it. Started working at Kona Boys, and then within a few years, we ended up taking it over, and we feel super blessed to be able to operate such a great small business here in Kona and support our community and culture and everything else that comes along with it.
We came in 2000, and when Brock and I showed up in Kona, this shop was shared by two companies, Ocean Eco Tours, who our good buddy Radical Rob runs, and Kona Boys, which was originally started by a guy named Mike Josie. And Brock and I started working for him at the time. They did scuba, they did surf, and they did kayaking in Kealakekua Bay. Kealakekua Bay is like the premier spot for kayaking and snorkeling on the Big Island. And Mike originally found that there was a demand for being able to paddle across the bay and access the snorkeling. And so Brock and I ended up working with another nonprofit group of other operators to create a permit system with the state and develop permits to be able to operate guided tours in Kealakekua Bay. And so that's kind of been the bread and butter for us, doing that and renting kayaks for down there. Rob eventually moved off to another location. And so as surfers, we thought that surf was kind of one of our priorities. So we started bringing in a lot of surfboards and kind of focusing on that side as well. We operated for, 4 or 5 years, and then we ended up starting a surf shop in Pahoa, which was called Rite of Passage. And for a time there, Brock and I kind of switched lives. So one of us would run the surf shop in Pahoa, and one of us would run Kona Boys. And then every 2 or 3 weeks, we just trade lives. And that way we got to surf all over the island and kind of meet people all over the island. And then Brock ended up having a son, which made it really hard for us to kind of keep up that lifestyle. So we refocused on this side of the island. Shortly after that, we had the opportunity to move into our beach shack location, which is at Kamakahonu, which means Eye of the Turtle. That's the little tiny cove right next to the Kailua Pier behind the Courtyard Marriott King Kamehameha Beach Resort. And so we've been there almost 15 years now as well. And down there we do Hawaiian outrigger canoe ride, the Ba'a rides. We also do all the rentals, kayaks, stand-ups, snorkel gear. We do all the beach equipment, beach chairs and umbrellas. Um, yeah, and so we've kind of always made it our purpose to, we left the mainland and more corporate lifestyle with the idea that we wanted to chase lifestyle instead of money. And so staying true to that, we've always been really into giving back to the community and being very conscious of the culture of the island. And so we pride ourselves on educating ourselves and all of our staff on cultural things. We work with a group down in the bay called Kealakekua Bay, which is a lineal descendant run nonprofit that has done a lot of the education for us in terms of like the stories and the history that we share down there. And then we've incorporated that as well into Kamakahonu, where we have like just some amazing guys that run the canoes, and we try to tell the story, the history of the Hawaiian culture in that area and how that works. And yeah, I mean, it's been a dream run, and 26 years later, we're still at it and trying to find new ways to reinvent ourselves and be involved in the community and perpetuate not only the culture and the history, but also the Kona Boys.
Well, I think that Kealakekua really kind of captured our hearts when we first came here. We spent a lot of time, off the bat working down there and doing the tours ourselves and getting to experience the place with visitors and to really see that just the impact it had on people to be in such a magnificent natural setting. A lot of times we're seeing dolphins and whales, and really can't help but feel the mana or the spirit power in a place like Kealakekua. It has so much history and so much lore, and that really just drew us in, and we just realized how lucky we were to fall into a place like Kealakekua to be able to operate our small business. And like Frank said, we were really decided that we didn't want to stay in the corporate scheme of things and just focus our life on making money. We really wanted to try to provide a good lifestyle for ourselves and for our family. And so we felt very fortunate to discover Kealakekua Bay. And then also, the whole Big Island in general is very special to us. And we have different stories from different locations, but we're very proud of our responsibility we have in Kealakekua Bay. We're one of only a couple of companies that have the permits to be down there. And we've put a lot of time and energy and effort working with the state and trying to keep it undeveloped or underdeveloped. And so we're really proud that Kealakekua has maintained its rural nature. It's still very, very bucolic. It's not developed at all. And like Frank said, he's working with the indigenous native people down there to try to perpetuate what it's going to look like in the future. And we're just very proud to be part of it. One of the things that we pride ourselves in is, it's cliche, but true aloha spirit and really making people feel welcome when they come here. And really giving them a good lay of the land. So when we talk to people for the first time, we really like to give them kind of an overview of the cultural side of the island. So really some of the special places, some of the protocols that the native Hawaiians do, some of the things that are on limits and off limits, certain places that we don't recommend that tourists go, other places that they do go. We really try to give them a roadmap so that they can proceed around the island and know how to tread lightly and be welcomed by the kapuna and by the local people. We feel like it's really important because most of the people that come here, they have goodwill in their hearts and they want to be responsible tourists, but sometimes they just don't know how. So we take it really seriously that we really try to give people kind of a cultural overview, really try to give them some connection to the place that helps them understand why they're not supposed to stand on certain rocks or takes rocks and things like that. So a great first morning in Kona would be to start with a cup of Kona coffee. Come on up to the Kona Boys shop here, either in Kealakekua or down at Kamakahonu. And we'd really just like to try to find out what each person is into. Some people would be, more into hiking when we have some great hiking opportunities, but obviously our sweet spot is the water sports. So if somebody's into surfing, paddle boarding, canoeing, we really would love to take them out for the first time, give them some guidance, show them some basic information that'll help them be able to enjoy it on their own. Our signature tour is our Kealakekua Bay tour. We take really small groups of people out, paddle across Kealakekua Bay. We're very conscientious of how we view the marine life, but a lot of times we do get to see the spinner dolphins, which is sometimes a highlight of people's lives, not to mention humpback whales. And we really pride ourselves on being interpretive guides. So we really make sure that either if we're doing it ourselves or our tour guides know a lot about the cultural significance of the place. We get trainings from native Hawaiians. We also spend a lot of time down there to really kind of understand the pulse of the community, the pulse of the bay. So we really want to incorporate, the cultural aspect of the island on your tour and really help somebody if they're visiting, whether they're just from another island or from another country. We want to try to give them a good roadmap to really be able to enjoy the Big Island. It's such a beautiful, magnificent place. It's still very bucolic and rural. There's very sparsely populated. So if you like nature and want to get out on your own, there's lots of ways to do that. And we want to be able to help you.
We've always kind of believed that a surf shop or an ocean sports shop should be very inclusive instead of exclusive. And so we really try to meet people where they're at and help them find activities and adventures that suit their level of expertise, whether they want to go adventure on their own or whether they want to go on a guided tour. If they feel like they'd like to, paddle on a canoe or they just want to go snorkeling, whatever that may be. And then the other thing that I think is kind of foundational for anyone that's dealing with the ocean is safety. And so having really, really good equipment, taking time and sharing, this island's raw and it's easy to get hurt. It's a lot of lava rock and coral. And so taking the time to give people the lay of the land and show them how to access places that are safe and approachable, making sure they have good equipment to do it and that they have the right information so that they can have a safe trip as well. I feel like the thing that we always push on is just the cultural aspect of it because if you look at the two of us, we're both Howleys, we're both transplants, we're not from here, and if you come trying to bring what you are and trying to put the mindset of how things operate in different places on Hawaii, that's not a way to be successful over here. And so I really think it's important, especially for guys like us, like we're operating in very culturally sensitive places. Kealakekua Bay is probably like, if not the most culturally sensitive place in the Hawaiian Islands. Kamakahonu was where King Kamehameha lived when he united all of the islands. And so to have reverence for those places and realize that even if you're on a shoreline and there's a big hotel right there, there's a lot of things that predated that hotel, a lot of rich cultural history that needs to be shared and explored. And so to get out of the resorts, get out of your hotel room and experience the island and the people. And the more that, we're Hawaii's famous for talk story, right? People take the time for each other here. If somebody random walks up to you at the beach and starts talking to you, it's not because they're a weirdo. It's not an unusual thing. It's because they're friendly and they're wanting to share and find out what you're about. And so be a little bit open yourself up and embrace the experience.
Yeah, Frank and I have, learned some of these lessons the hard way. But by just being ourselves and being open, and you kind of understand too in Hawaii, people don't value you by what kind of car you drive or what kind of watch you have. Our status in society is more, what kind of community member are you? What kind of paddler are you? Are you promoting the culture? Are you a good surfer? So it's kind of refreshing to know that you're judged kind of on your merit as a person, and not so much in materialistic way that so much of our society is now based on. So it's really refreshing to know that what you do here is judged in a different way. It's judged by what you're giving back, what you're offering, what type of person you are. And so I think that that's something to keep in mind too if you come here, that nobody cares what kind of watch you're wearing, but they care what, like Frank said, what you're bringing to the table in terms of sharing your culture, learning about Hawaii's culture. So I think those are some pretty unique things I'd like to mention as well.
Absolutely right. And if somebody is planning on coming to the island, they're starting to do their research, how do they contact you guys?
Awesome. Well, thanks for asking. So we're pretty prolific. We have a great website, konaboys.com. We also like to use Instagram and social media quite a bit. So those are good places to start. And really, we're known for our water activities, but like we've said we've been here for 26 years. So we have connections with the helicopter companies, the hiking places. We have relationships with different hotels. So if you're looking for a certain type, if you're more of an adventure type person versus a resort type person, send us an email, give us a call. We'd love to help you plan your trip. And as we mentioned before, for us, it's not about getting as much business from you as we can, but it's about helping you enjoy your trip to Hawaii, for you to support local small businesses. And that's a really big thing too. There's not a lot of small local based businesses. There's even fewer that are Hawaiian owned. And obviously we're not one of them, but I think it's very important that you seek out those Hawaiian owned businesses and those local businesses, because that's really where you're going to get the feel for the culture and the pace of the place. So send us an email, reach out to us on social media. We'd love to steer you in the right directions. We have dedicated our life to this Hawaii and to the business of promoting tourism in a respectful way. So don't hesitate to reach out to Frank or I or anybody who answers the phone here. We'd be happy to point you in the right direction.
A lot of people say, big island, small world. Everybody has a connection over here, like you spend any like significant amount of time and you get to know a lot of people. And so I think one of the coolest parts of our job is getting to be a resource and really getting to share places that we know and love, and businesses that we feel are doing the right thing, and restaurants that take care of their people, and activities and places and that kind of thing. And the longer you're here, the more those things open up to you, and the better advice you have. And we're not born here, we're flown here. But we've spent, the majority of our adult lives in this community, and we feel like we know a lot of the really good people and places, and love to share those in a conscientious way.
Speaking to people that maybe have not come to the island, or they've only been here maybe 1 or 2 times, what I've noticed on some Facebook groups where people are planning their vacation, they have an itinerary like just way too big.
Ages.
Because I understand what they're wanting to get done. They want to get as much out of the experience as possible.
So, we recommend for people to, plan their days very sparsely. Give yourself plenty of flexibility, because you might find one particular part of the island that you like better than another. You might hear about an activity. And so sometimes when you pack too much in, you don't get to enjoy the things that you've done. So we see some people want to do a Kealakekua Bay kayak in the morning, and then a manta tour in the evening, and then go to dinner. I would say spread those out. Maybe do one activity a day, and definitely leave a few days open, because once you get here, you're going to have a much different perspective of what there is to see and do. And luckily, we're still a small enough island that, most activities, most things, you don't need to reserve years in advance. So I would definitely say keep your itinerary light, add for some flexibility, and take time to soak in some of the most amazing spots.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, they think of it as an island, and they don't realize how large this island is. And things are spread out. So if you're going to do that, be very conscientious of the fact that, there's different activities in different places. And I always tell people, if you're doing something and you're having a great time, just stay there. If you're having fun, that's what you're here for. So just enjoy it. Don't feel like you're trying to rush just to fit something else in, because your best experiences are going to come out of having that, longevity in a place, and connecting with the people, and
Having some flexibility.
yeah, have some flexibility, lay back. And if you have activities one day, the next day, go to a beach and hang out. Takes a little downtime.
And we're always happy to point you in the right direction for a nice beach or a waterfall, or give you some tips about the volcano. So feel free to look us up, or look up another local business, and try to get a little more information before you plan, and leave lots of room for flexibility. All right, Rome, thanks so much for letting us share a little bit about our Kona Boys story. We really appreciate everybody watching out there. We hope when you come to Kona, you'll look up Kona Boys. We promise you won't regret it. And if you know anybody coming to Kona, tell us about them. We'll take good care of them. We got dogs, sheeps, all kinds of stuff. But anyway, Rome, thanks so much for letting us share our story. Kona Boys, Kealakekua, Kamakahonu, on Rock, Please Frank.
Aloha, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate all of you, and I hope we get to meet you on the Big Island. I just wanted to take a minute, kind of show you around.
So we rent
This building, this space, is the old Yamagata Pool Hall. It's been around for over 100 years. This used to be where all of the fishermen and the farmers met. They used to have cockfights in the back and pool tables and gambling in here. And we've been in this shop now for 30 years. And I just wanted to give you an idea of what we've got. So everything in here is based on water people. So we try to carry stuff that water people need. We have snorkel gear, snorkel belts, life jackets, and then we also carry the accessory stuff. So all the Reef Safe sunscreens. We do all custom Kona Boys hats. We have everything made for the shop. Give you a little idea, some of that kind of gear. We've always had kind of the mentality that we don't want to sell anything that we don't want to buy personally. So it's really important to us that everything's really high quality. We do all of our own local printing. So all the shirts are printed locally. We work with a company called Ono. It's all organic cotton and bamboo for that. We also have really nice rash guards, sun shirts, this tenor figs, keep the sun off. It's probably the most important thing for people visiting Hawaii is to be aware that the sun's pretty intense around here. You got to keep yourself covered. And then, of course, we've got the actual gear. Got lots of surfboards, racks of those.
Thanks for taking the time to watch the video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. I wanted to thank Frank and Brock for taking the time to tell us about their business. And I also wanted to thank the whole crew at Kona Boys. Everybody there was very helpful, really cool crew. I would highly recommend that if you're planning on coming to the Big Island, get in contact with these guys. They're a great resource to have. If you've been here before and you want to expand your adventure on the island, make sure and hit them up. They have a lot of really good resources that they can point you in the right direction. And obviously their adventure business that they run in Kealakekua. I'm going to make sure and leave all their contact details in the description of the video. If you like the video, make sure and subscribe. And most importantly, make sure and have a great day.